Hi everyone, welcome to our live Q&A every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 5 to 5:30, live Los Angeles time. Coming here to talk about US immigration, take your questions with educational general answers with all the wackiness that's involved in the US immigration system. We're going to jump into that really quickly as people start coming in right now. We're logged on live on Instagram, on TikTok, Immigration Alert John on TikTok, and live on YouTube as well as recording here, which you're catching this at. I'm just setting everything up right now to take your questions. It's a wild week. I know we got a lot of questions about the delays in the receipts. We have questions about the biometrics appointments being late. It's all normal, unfortunately. I hate to say these things are normal when there's such big problems happening and delays that's troubling everybody. But, that's just what we're dealing with right now with coronavirus and, lack of funding and lack of caring, it seems, with regards to these immigration cases. So we'll jump on all that as your questions coming all along. So let's get it started. USCIS has sent an email out acknowledging the delays in biometrics. And it's really wild because I have cases where, for example, we have for people renewing their green card and file for citizenship at the same time, biometrics will come for the green card renewal like a month later, but it'll take months to get the citizenship biometrics, even though you could waive that one too because you already had the fingerprints. We have marriage cases, who applied for green cards adjustment of status in the United States, and have cases 7, 8, 9 months go without biometric appointments, and have others who get the biometric appointments 1 or 2 months later. And to add insult to injury, I have a lot of cases, and this is typical in the immigration game, where people have already done their biometrics, and USCIS is resending a biometrics notice appointments to do the fingerprints or biometrics. I use these interchangeably to do them all over again. And so that makes less time available for other people to do their biometrics, which is really annoying, especially because the support centers that are doing the biometrics are seeing less people come in intentionally to make it less crowded because of worries about coronavirus. And by having people go twice when they don't need to, it creates less space for other people to come in. So that's the headache that we're dealing with regards to biometric appointments. That's the situation with that. Our friend Abdul Shah says, what happens when you get a newborn kid after my spouse case has been approved? That's a complicated thing. We have to see what the whole situation is. I'd have to have a consultation with you. There's different scenarios of how that works out. Potentially, your child could just use the visa of the parent, the immigrant visa, come in with that. Potentially, a child may automatically be a U.S. citizen. So I really need to know more information about your background. Just schedule a consultation and we can go over in private. Samuel says, I've been reading on Facebook that lawyers say they can fix people's green cards without leaving the US if married to a US citizen without legal entry. Is that true? Well, Samuel, I know the lawyers are doing this, a couple of my friends. There's a program called the Violence Against Women's Act. Now, there's other exceptions too, but this is primarily what they're using. And Violence Against Women's Act doesn't just apply to women, it applies to men as well. But if you're in an abusive relationship, potentially, even if you enter the US without permission, you can get forgiveness of that because of that abusive relationship. So you have to file a special application for it, substantiate and be able to show that there's, extreme abuse and that kind of stuff. I can't remember the standard. I don't do these kind of cases. And if you're able to pull that off, then yeah, it's possible. And so that's what they're talking about in most of these videos on TikTok and YouTube that you see, discussing how you could still get a green card even if you enter without permission if you're married to a citizen and not go through like getting a waiver or that kind of stuff. Paranoid says, does a reentry permit form I-131 still require applying from inside the United States during this pandemic? 100%. It's in the statute. If you are going to apply for a reentry permit, you physically have to be within the United States. There are no exceptions to that for a reentry permit. Nicole asks, my mother-in-law recently passed away. My husband has a green card and I'm a citizen. Can I apply for my father-in-law to come to the U.S. myself? No, unfortunately, you can't do that. Only a child can apply for their own parents, and the child has to be a U.S. citizen. And in fact, not a child, but a person over 21. So maybe your husband, if you're a U.S. citizen, can get U.S. citizenship faster. And if he could do that, then you can file for his parents. It's going to take a while, but no, there's no fast way. There's no way for you to apply for, unfortunately. Iyasha says, I came in June 2019. I still haven't got my physical green card. Anything I have to do from my side? Well, you should have contacted USCIS to see what's going on and then potentially you might have to just apply for a new green card. They may have messed up and lost your green card, unfortunately. So that's something you have to deal with. All right. So, a lot of these questions about timelines, I always say, each case is so different and depends on which field office you're dealing with, what type of case you have, the facts of your case. If you're dealing with the embassy system, what's going on, there's politics involved. There's, Trump's travel bans involved. There's lawsuits. There's all sorts of things. So without knowing all the details of your case, it's not possible to answer. Please don't get frustrated at me. It's just the situation. Badil says, our lawyer is working on my husband's green card visa application. She is asking him which social media platforms he has used in the last 5 years. He doesn't remember all of them. Well, do your best. That's about as much you can do. Yeah, the new applications, Form DS 160 and 260, do ask for your social media. These are when you apply for a green card or a visa through the embassy system. They ask for this kind of stuff in the last 5 years, and you want to do your best to be able to answer it. That's as good as you can do, really. Try to just think really hard and remember what those are. All right. So yeah, they've been making this stuff more complicated than it used to. Like these applications used to be 2, 3, 4 pages. Now they're 18, 19, 20 pages each. So as you can imagine, they're just piling on questions to try to catch you in some sort of problem or issue to, become more difficult on you. And so that's the wildness of the immigration system. That's why you want to have an advocate on your side to kind of watch out over this stuff. Sergio says, can applicants include joint sponsors on the I-944 form? No, joint sponsorship is for the I-864. The I-944 is about the applicant and their household. Perry says, and if my sibling lives in the U.S., can I file I-130 and adjustment of status together at the same time? No. So when you are a U.S. citizen and you apply for your brother or sister, your sibling's green card, that process is going to take 10, 15, 20 years potentially. And you file for adjustment of status when that case for them becomes what's called current. And so when you start the case, the sibling gets their place in line. It's called the priority date. And then there's a chart online called the visa bulletin. And you have to keep checking that chart every month until the priority date, the place in line, shows that it's reached the end. And that takes, for brother and sister cases of U.S. citizens, 15, 20 years. It's a long time. When their case comes, if they're in the United States lawfully, yeah, you can file for adjustment of status, but there's no concurrent filing in those kind of cases. Sanjay asks, my I-130 is approved. I have a court date for asylum. Can I apply for I-485 without attending court? Maybe. Like, for example, if you're married to U.S., well, if you're in court, no. You have to admin close the court case for it to go to USCIS. And that's complicated. You need to have a lawyer to talk with the court. So they could probably either adjudicate it in court or shut it down for USCIS to do it. But if you have an active court case, you got to get the case out of court first. So talk with the immigration attorney, hire someone, and have them work with you on that. It's just something important. Anthony asks, my appointment is coming up for my permanent residency. What tips do you recommend? We had a baby while waiting for the interview, and we believe that is a strong sign of marriage good faith. Any tips? Yeah, that's not, go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. I have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide in there. It has a bunch of test questions, just reviews that stuff. If you're trying to think about tips and stuff, majority is in there. Or schedule a consultation with an attorney to do a practice interview. Most likely it'll be good if you have a child's birth certificate, but a marriage green card interview is not just about the reality of the relationship, it's real or not. They're going to look into your background, Anthony. I don't know anything about that. I got to dive into your background. They're going to go into your finances potentially. I don't know anything about that. So there's other things we got to look at and analyze to be able to answer those kind of questions. So I want to thank everyone for joining. It was an interesting half hour. And so we'll catch you again next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, where we have a half hour of general education kind of question and answers about U.S. immigration. The recordings of these are on the YouTube page for JQK Law Firm. Check them out there. And then we have a bunch of other great videos. We just did one, the 5 top reasons why marriage green card cases are denied. Got a lot of views, a lot of attention, and a lot of other stuff. And we have a second channel called JQK Immigration Clips. We have 1 or 2 minute clips, about 100. Well, it's piling up, but it's going to be a lot of videos there that could really discuss that stuff. Twin Screams says Happy New Year. Praise Happy New Year. Thank you as well. Thank you everyone who joined today. I'll catch you all next week. God bless and be safe. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed this educational video. We have a second channel with much more information as well at JQK Immigration Clips. Please check that out. Also, you'll find our social media site has a lot more videos, images, and information about the U.S. immigration process. Please check those out on the various social media websites.